Thank you, Caleb and Hannah. That was beautiful. Be thou my vision. That is what we want to have our focus upon. You know, just one other brief little announcement. I hope you do stay for the fellowship meal, that we can spend that time together. And then the Lord has given Patty and myself a real special blessing. We were able to go to Bangla Hope there in Bangladesh, and we'll just give a short little program after the fellowship meal. It'll be right in here, just as soon as everybody's done eating. Also, at the end of the service, there will be picked up at the back door there an offering for Deacons Fund. Deacons Fund is a little bit different than some of the other funds. The Deacons Fund goes to help out needy church members. So that's what that goes for. It stays right here and helps out our family who may be in need. Alrighty? Anyway, this morning I would like to very briefly look at three chapters of Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And I don't know, but I kind of expect that as the Lord impressed Bible authors, He not only impressed the content, but I think He also impressed the sequence. And so I want to start out with 1 Corinthians chapter 11. And that was Paul's account of the Lord's and the Last Supper with His disciples. This Last Supper that Jesus had with His disciples was the Passover supper. And remember, the Passover was commemorative of Israel's deliverance from Egyptian bondage. Jesus used this occasion to set forth to His disciples the final fulfillment of what the Passover pointed to, the deliverance of our bondage to sin. This service, the communion service, as we now call it, was for the purpose for us to remember Jesus. Not just His life, but specifically His death and sacrifice for us, paying the penalty, the price that our sins cost Him. Paul's account in 1 Corinthians 11, includes Jesus' words to do this in remembrance of Him, but then Paul adds that phrase that we are supposed to continue to do this clear up until the time that Jesus comes once again. We're told that we should spend a thoughtful hour remembering Jesus' life, but she says specifically that we should spend time thinking of those closing scenes. That would be His everything from the supper with His disciples, the way He so graciously washed Judas' feet, who was going to betray Him. How amazing. But then His tremendous struggles there in Gethsemane, His farce of a trial, His crucifixion. We're supposed to think upon those things. If we do, it will change us. We celebrate this service every quarter as a reminder of Jesus' victory for us. And now, because of Jesus' victory, He can give us that perfect life that He has accomplished. And He wants to give us that victory. He wants to credit that to our account. The way this is done is found in Ezekiel chapter 36. And I love this. I believe it's Jesus speaking. He says, this is how I'm going to give you that victory. This is how I'm going to give you that perfect record. It's found in Ezekiel chapter 36. It begins with verse 25. This is Jesus speaking. Then I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness, from all of your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments, and so do them. Ye shall be my people, I will be your God. I will save you from all your uncleanliness. There's a lot of I's in there, and there's none that would reflect us. It's all about Jesus. This is what he wants. This is the victory that Jesus has provided for us, and because of that victory, we can come into his presence with exceeding joy. This is a joyful service that we're partaking of today. Jesus' example for us in the ordinance of humility was where Jesus washed his disciples' feet. Remember that Jesus told Peter, he says, if I wash your feet, you are completely clean. That's all it takes. But it was more than just an act of humility that Jesus was instituting here. This act of the washing each other's feet is a miniature baptism. It's where we can come together. It's symbolic of a baptism, where we can come together, we can humble ourselves before each other, and we can be made totally clean once again. A whole new start. With our sins forgiven, that is our reason for rejoicing. Paul's account of the Lord's Supper is followed by a discussion of spiritual gifts. Paul equates the differing spiritual gifts by the different parts of the body. 1 Corinthians 12:12, for as the body is one and has many members, all the members of that body, of that one body being one, are one body, so is Christ. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not part of the body, is it not therefore of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not part of the body, is it therefore not of the body? But now there are many members, yet one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of thee. No, much more, those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. If you think that you just have a small gift, you are very necessary to the Lord. Paul goes on to equate his example of the different parts of the body with the different gifts in the church body. In the church, it says there are apostles, there are elders, there are prophets, there are deacons, there are Sabbath school teachers, there are those of church administration, there are gifts of healing. There are gifts of helping out in service to the community and to the church. And there are those, God's people, who will simply lift up the church family in prayer. Each person has a different gift. Some valued by men are more or less than others, but each are of value. All of these gifts are important, and no one gift is less essential than any of the others. 2 Corinthians 8:12, I particularly like this verse. It says, for there first be a willing mind. It is accepted according to that a man hath, and not according to that he hath not. So what it's saying there, it doesn't matter what you have, it doesn't matter what your gift is, it matters what you do with your gift. That's what counts to the Lord. After that discussion, Paul goes on to give us the description of the greatest gift of all, and that is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. We've been told that we should read this chapter of the Bible every day. And if we did, it would change our lives. Paul says the best gift, the most excellent way, is doing things in love one for another. John 13:34, Jesus speaking, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. Verse 35, by this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. Jesus has come, and all those promises listed in the Bible, the promises of his first coming, the promise of the victory that he promises us, the promise of the certainty of his second coming, are all reasons for celebration and joy that this service today is indicative of. This communion service was meant to be a demonstration not only of our humbleness, but also of our love for each other. And so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to separate, and the ladies will go to the fellowship hall, the men will go downstairs. As we serve each other, it's not just an act of humility, it is an act of restoration, that we can come back here completely clean once again.